Welcome to the Teach Joyfully podcast, where we talk about all things elementary teaching with some mom stuff thrown in. I'm Lisa Burns, and I'll be your host. Thanks for joining me. Today we're talking about how to get your grading and planning done so that you can leave work at work. I know, that seems like a pipe dream. Don't worry, I have a plan. First off, you need and deserve a break. You do. Teachers are some of the hardest working people I know. I'm just going to put it out there and tell you the truth. If you aren't giving yourself a mental and physical break every day and week, you are wearing yourself out. I know that's not a news flash, but it needs to be said out loud, and we all need to admit it. It's not a sustainable life. In fact, when we get the mental and physical rest we need daily and weekly, we're able to be more productive, happier, and more focused at school and at home. I know taking a break seems counterproductive when you have a lot to get done, but it's really not. In reality, what we really need is we need time at home without work, time to rest and rejuvenate and get ourselves restarted. I don't know about you, but the thought of not taking work home can seem like an impossible task. It always seems like there's simply not enough hours in the day to get it all done. And honestly, there's probably not. In my early years of teaching, I had the infamous teacher bag. It was huge. Most teachers have one of those too. So do you have a teacher bag? How big is it? Have you changed sizes? Maybe bigger or smaller in an effort to corral all the work and make it more manageable? I've always had one. I will always have one as an educator, and maybe you have more than one. I've seen that too. Bags and bags. Oh, goodness. Anyway, mine was filled with grading, planning, prep, projects and paperwork, ideas for things coming up that I might want to try, all kinds of things. Heck, I even had Band-Aids and hair ties and all kinds of other things in there too. I'm sure you do too. I don't know if you remember the show The Price is Right, but when I was a little girl, that was still a thing. I could win The Price is Right with that teacher bag. There's everything you could ever need in there. Well, anyway, my teacher bag, I'd carry it back and forth from school to home and back again, like an extra limb. It was just a part of me. Once I'd get home and everyone was settled and the kids were in bed, I'd sit on the sofa, turn on a show, maybe make a cup of coffee or have a glass of wine and start working. Before I knew it, I was spending more time falling asleep than I was working. And then I'd feel guilty for not getting it all done. It was a vicious cycle. Honestly, I'd carry the bag home, fall asleep trying to get it all done, then I'd guiltily take it back to school and try again. I'd try to fit some in during my already packed school day, and I'd get some done, but I just wound up feeling frazzled all the time. And some days, I'd even add more to the bag than I took out. Ugh, that was the worst. And then I'd take it right back home again. Does this dance sound familiar to you? To tell you the truth, I was getting a great workout for my arms by not getting a lot of the work done. I was staying afloat, but not really getting on top of the workload. And I was feeling stressed, overwhelmed, frazzled all the time. I just couldn't get ahead. And even if I didn't take the teacher bag home, it weighed on my mind. It was stressful. What I needed was a new system. I needed a system so I could stop feeling overwhelmed and stuck. I also needed a new system for my family. My husband was so sick of me working all the time. And once we had kids of our kids needed me to be home and be present for them. Baseball, gymnastics, music lessons, dinner, homework, mom stuff, time to read a book even. All those things were more important to me than all those papers I needed to grade. But yeah, those papers were still important too, because those kids at school, they were my babies too, and I really wanted to do right by them. And that made it really hard. I was so torn. So I'd work on the weekends. In short, I was getting little time to unwind and just be, doing the classic teacher dance, taking care of everyone and everything else, but not me. In short, I was getting burned out. And that's the bigger problem. I needed a mental break from school. I was wearing myself out by not giving myself a break. I bet, my friend, that you've been there, and you might even still be in this place of exhaustion and overwhelm right now. If you are, here's the answer. batching. Now don't worry, it's all going to be in the show notes on my website. Batching 101. Well, what is batching? Batching is when you take similar tasks and group them together so that you can do them all at once more efficiently instead of switching between tasks. Because multitasking really is a myth. It's actually a proven fact. Our brain can only do one thing at a time, and it switches between tasks. Now, you might be very good at switching between tasks quickly, but the more tired you get, the less efficient you are at doing that. And it honestly doesn't work as efficiently as you think it does. You'll be much more productive if you focus. Here's how batching works for our purposes. You'll need a folder for each subject. You're going to gather all the grading that's turned in or take 5 minutes at the end of each day and sort them out and put them in the proper folders. Inside of the folder, you're also going to put the answer key or rubric, whatever it is you're using to help you grade, in the folder with each set. So clip them together. Now here's a little pro tip. As I get assignments ready for any given week, I put the answer keys or rubrics for those assignments into the proper folders at that time. Even before I've given any of the work to students, it's already ready and it's in there. If it's in a teacher manual that I'm going to be using all week, then I drop a Post-it note with the name of the teacher manual and the page number of the answer key into that folder instead. Then, when I'm sorting out the finished work each day, I simply attach the proper rubric, answer key, or Post-it note to the stack and put it in the grading folder. That's it. And you're going to walk away. I know that's going to be a little bit hard, but you can do it. And I also know that seems like you're not actually getting anything done, just making yourself feel like you're organized. Busy work, right? No. I promise this is not an idle step. It's important. So here's the next step. You're going to schedule one day to stay late every week. Make it a regular date. Oh no, I can just hear the protests. I have kids, I'm a single mom, my school isn't safe after hours. Oh honey, I have been there in all those situations or ones very close to them. I have solutions for that. If you're a young teacher with no commitments, you are golden. Your time is yours. But if you're a teacher mom or your school isn't safe after school, here's what to do. You probably already go in early, but if you don't, that's an option. And you can certainly choose to do some of the work several mornings in a row by going in early. You can also get a babysitter one day a week. We get babysitters for all kinds of reasons. This is a gift to yourself so you can focus, get it done, and be free. If you can't afford a babysitter on a regular basis, I get it. Maybe you're a single mom or you have no money or both. When my kids were young, my husband traveled 50% of the time. We had no extra money. I get it. In those situations, you can trade babysitting with another mom, share the cost of a babysitter with another teacher, or just trade babysitting with a friend. They get an afternoon or evening out, and you get an afternoon or evening to work kid-free. It's a win-win. Maybe you can't stay safely at your school. Been there. I worked at a school that backed to a gang-infested neighborhood. We didn't stay late ever. And any programs, anything we did was always during the school day. It simply wasn't safe. I'm all about being safe. Instead of staying at school, schedule time and go to a coffee shop or a library or somewhere else in your community where you can focus and get the work done. Or you can schedule time and days to batch for each day of the week. On Mondays, maybe you grade math or do planning for math. On Tuesdays, maybe you do the grading and planning for language arts, and so on. You'll need to be super organized and focused so you can just grab a set of papers and get it done. Create a schedule for your time each day and stick to it. This works well if you're coming in early and trying to get a little done each day. If you're going to do a day a week on your planning day, create a prioritized schedule for your time. If you need to, take a couple minutes and do a brain dump. Set a timer, write down all the things that you need to accomplish, get them out of your head, and then prioritize grading, planning, prep, other tasks, and things that you need to schedule. You have to remember why you're here. Do not get off track. Then you're going to grade all of one thing, all of the writing papers, all of the math papers. Then go on to the next subject, one subject at a time, so you can stay focused and get it done. I love a timer to help keep me on task because honestly, I have no sense of time. I simply don't. My husband, he can say, I'm going to take a 15-minute nap and he will sleep for exactly 15 minutes. It makes me crazy. I say I'm going to take a 15-minute nap and I sleep for 2 hours. It just isn't something that I'm good at, so I use a timer. Manage your time. However it is that works for you, make sure you manage your time. I'm going to do this set of papers in 5 minutes. Set a timer. It helps me stay focused. If that doesn't work for you and it's just annoying, then don't use a timer. Whatever works for you. And that's how it's done. So a quick recap. If you need a little extra help, I have a checklist for you to help you get started. You can grab my Batching 101 checklist. The link's in the show notes at www.hopeineducation.com/podcast. And that's it. A quick recap. In order to batch, you'll need to make folders, one for each subject or class that you teach. You'll need to get all of your grading rubrics or answer keys, whatever you have, and get those into the folders. Then as you get papers in, you'll get them in there and clip them together with whatever grading you need. Schedule time, group those tasks when you get in there, and get busy. And don't forget, you can always grab all my freebies at www.hopeineducation.com/vault. It's free. Just sign up to get access. Links in the show notes at www.hopeineducation.com/podcast. So that's it, my teacher friends. We're out of time and I am out of breath. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you like today's episodes, I'd love it if you go to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen and leave a review. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss an episode. Don't forget the show notes are on my website at www.hopeineducation.com/podcast. And remember, a happy teacher is a good teacher. Until next time, teach joyfully and take care of you.